it's very difficult to define that. The reality is that it tends to be that you have this overwhelming momentum. You're on the first step to product market fit when you are talking to a potential customer about an idea, you're showing them a demo, and they essentially reach across the table and say, like, I need this now. That's when we've got the idea correct. When people are using that product, that idea in physical form or virtual form on a daily basis, when they are reliant on that product, when they are referring it to other people, when those people are coming to you desperate for it, when you have scarcity because you can't deliver the product fast enough, that's product market fit. Some people see that at 6-figure annualized revenue. Some people see it at 7-figure annualized revenue. It's very, very hard to know exactly when it is. It's often this momentum, and that is not really something where there's a perfect formula, at least as yet. Newness, prestige, premium, all those things are huge motivators for human behavior. And if they say no, then you can ask them the question, well, what would you like to see in order to upgrade? If you frame it as an upgrade, offering customer support or ongoing service is a very common mechanism. I mean, so the first lesson is don't sell someone something one-off, try and get it on an annual contract. The clarification around that is that you have to be passionate about an industry, about a market, right? So you might be passionate about oncology, customer service software, AI, but you can't be passionate about an individual problem. You can't be passionate about computer vision for manufacturing. You can be passionate about computer vision. You can then go and try and talk to a bunch of different people about it and see who needs to buy that computer vision product from you. But your passion for the computer vision is what's going to carry you through. I'm a big believer in manufacturing and healthcare markets in particular. I think women's healthcare is largely untouched by software. Obviously, it's a massive market. And over again, I get these decks from dudes doing women's healthcare. So obviously there's an opportunity or two there. Manufacturing remains in the Stone Age. A lot of the tools that are in manufacturing today that operate at least small machine shops and a lot of premium manufacturing entities are done on pen and paper. And we're also seeing the reshoring of that, right? We obviously had globalization for the last 50 years or so. We're now, geopolitical trends are changing. And so a lot of things that were manufactured in other places are perhaps coming back, or we're changing how we do those manufacturing mechanisms. So I'm a big believer in that market in particular. Well, I actually do believe in crypto. So I'm a big believer in crypto. It was a personal win for me back when I started investing in it in 2012 and 2013. But I also think that a lot of the opportunities around democratizing education, qualification, those can be embedded in things like NFTs. And the most recent company that I invested in, for example, in NFTs was a music company. They are doing a producer marketplace. So a lot of producers create beats or small snippets of tracks that might go into other larger tracks or perhaps into, soundtracks, etc., parts of ads, movies. And or they may never get used at all, and they can't sell those very easily. So making them an NFT makes it easy to sell. So I think crypto is obviously going to happen because my firm belief is that the bankers at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan can't continue to be paid this much when machines can do it for us at a much lower cost. Manufacturing, a big one, and then in particular in the United States, but also in single payer models like the UK, the healthcare opportunity is just enormous. And it's also a really good business to last and survive in, because if you are willing to get over the regulatory hurdles of healthcare, you're done. Like, no one else is willing to do that. So there's only you basically available as a product, and they can't get rid of you once they've signed up because, again, of all this regulatory compliance. That happens a lot. A lot of people do that because obviously they want to generate revenue right away. And it's a completely understandable path. Like, you take money from someone like me, I'm going to be pushing you to keep taking money for another 5, 6 years, and you're going to own, you know, Mark Zuckerberg owned less than 30% of Facebook when it went public. That was a great outcome for a founder. A lot of people have even much more brutal dilution along the way. So first of all, yes, completely understand that mentality. If you want to build a big business, usually a consultancy will not scale. You can certainly build a big product business without venture capital. 40% of or 60% of businesses in the US public markets never took venture capital. Microsoft never took venture capital money. You can do that by getting big projects and annual contracts early on. Microsoft started off with enterprise sales. Bill Gates sold scheduling software to his own high school, I believe, was one of the first things. So those kinds of projects are usually the right kind of thing where there's an ongoing revenue generation as part of it, rather than doing one-off stuff like we heard at the beginning of the Q&A. That's where the risk comes in, where you're doing one-off work and then each month you've got to start all over again. And that's very, very challenging. So I would say build a product, but do it in a mechanism that perhaps is devoted to generating revenue first. And that usually means going to an enterprise customer, perhaps doing something that is consulting for the first customer, but more repeatable with every progressive customer, and is framed as an annual contract with ongoing services fees. The most popular example of that we have right now is perhaps One Medical, which Amazon just bought for a few $1 billion. So that was bringing software into the medical practice. So you would have better apps that streamline the booking flows, the care flows. I do a lot of stuff with video chat, and there was brick and mortar places to do labs or in-person visits. You see it with services like Amazon Go as well, where the whole premise was that you go to a store and don't have to use the checkout system or wait in line to take your goods. But that hasn't actually done that well. So I think that software and brick and mortar, actual physical retail locations, is not necessarily a solved problem. We are seeing companies operate within that. So maybe there are camera companies that sell footfall analytics to retailers, for example. But building a business that integrates a physical location with some kind of software advantage is very challenging. And the only one off the top of my head that I can think of that's been very successful is One Medical. And that's probably because it's in the healthcare space, and that's a heavily regulated and kind of a low quality experience for most people. That elevation that the software provided there was all that was required. I wouldn't say it was particularly innovative. It was in another market.